I believe that God Himself is about to birth something so powerfully brand new. I'm coming to this realization that I have got to take some time off, so to speak. That hasn't really happened yet since this crisis has hit. Greater amount of time to pause and listen for the voice of the Lord. That is really what I'm consistently hearing the Lord calling us to. That in this time of social distancing, I think the Lord wants us to decrease the distance between us and Him. And I do feel closer to Him. But I am just sensing a drawing of the Lord to go deeper with that for multiple reasons. And I want to touch on some of that because, in this time of us being outside of the normal framework of church, if we're not careful, we may be trying to continue old ways of doing things, even in this time that we're distant. So how can we keep doing what we were doing before in this new kind of context? Could it be that the Lord is working at developing some new wineskins? And I'm not suggesting that, are you saying that church from now on is going to just be online and live? No, but I think that we're going to be finding new ongoing ways to utilize this technology, but that's not really what I'm talking about. Strategy for ministry direction. Where do we go from here? I've been in prayer about ministry direction for our own ministry. And what I keep hearing from the Lord is, stay close to me. Trust me. But God, I want you to give me strategy. Stay close to me. Trust me. Listen. Listen. Strategy, Lord. I need steps. Give me a plan. Stay close to me. Listen. Know my heart. I personally think, I'm not saying God brought the tornado. I don't believe He did at all. I'm not saying that He brought the virus. But He's definitely doing a work in us through this, isn't He? And it's not just, He's working in us so that we're out here serving the community and we're doing all these good things. He's doing something deeper than that, folks. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. At least He's trying to bring us to a place, I believe, to stop just working and just start being. My son, being. My daughter. Oh, but I'm a servant. No, you're my friend, Jesus says. I want you to rediscover what it means to be a friend of God. I want you to enter into a renewed intimacy with me right now. This is what I'm hearing. And in my desire, I'm by nature, I'm a fix-it guy. I like to fix situations. I want to fix this whole thing the world's working on, struggling with right now. I'd love to fix this, make it stop. But listen, the key here is not for us to just get busier and busier and trying to fix things. Stay close to Him. Listen. Get His heart. I believe that God Himself is about to birth something so powerfully brand new, but it requires us to do the 2 Chronicles 7:14 thing first. And that is the whole call to us that if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves. What is humility? It's saying, Lord, I don't know how to do this. Lord, all of my experiences combined in the past have not prepared me for this. I don't have enough. I don't know enough. I'm not skilled enough. I'm not talented enough to even know how to take a step 1 inch forward. It is a place of humility. And then as we come into that place of His presence, you know what He enables us to do? He enables us to turn from our wicked ways. I know this is redundant of what I've said before. What is a way? A way is a path. What is a path? It's something that is established through a deeply entrenched pattern of repetitive action over and over, through a field or through a forest where animals go the same way over and over again, where there's a path, well, that must be the way to go, because we've always done it that way before. But I think that the Lord is saying, I want you to turn from the deeply entrenched patterns of the past, because those ways are no longer kingdom ways. I think we're going to find when we get beyond this that a lot of the ministry models and things we looked at in the past are going to be obsolete. Each of you and every one of us have to individually ourselves get a sense of what God is about to do and how he wants us to walk with him. You know, I think he gets weary of just watching us work for him. He wants us to work with him. I'm going to look at the words of Jesus here, and he was talking about new wineskins. It's used as a metaphor. No one puts new wine into old wineskins. And if they poured wine into an animal skin to keep it, there would be some fermentation that takes place in that wineskin because it's new and flexible. And as that fermentation takes place, there's a need for some expansion room, okay? And so the wineskin, because it's new and not brittle, it expands with the wine, okay? Oh, if you use up that wine, and if you want to put some new wine in that same wineskin, the problem is that wineskin has aged a bit and often has even become hard and potentially brittle. You pour new wine into that, fill it up. When it starts to expand, the flexibility is not there anymore, and the old wineskin cracks. It breaks. It spills out. It's wasted. So with new wine, there needs to be a new wineskin, right? There's different things that we can look at here, but the new wine of what God is doing. Now, in Jesus' day, he was bringing new teaching, and the old paradigms established by the religious order of the day, maybe at one time they served a purpose, but because they were not receiving the new thing that God was doing, it just didn't work very well, did it? They basically rejected Christ. Let's take that principle and bring it into our day-to-day. There is a newness, I believe, to what God is wanting to do. I think he's allowed us to come into the season where we can't just sit back here in the month of April and say, okay, in a month or two, we're going to go back into our local churches. All right, let's start putting together our plan for what we're going to do when we get out of hiding. We can't do that if what we're trying to do is to just take what we were doing before and just repackage that and go forward with it. We've got to take this time in the presence of the Lord in anticipation of the new wine that he's going to bring. So, Lord, would you form in us the new wineskin of what you want to do? And listen, I tell you, that new wineskin, it's not going to come out of a book. It's going to come out of his word, time in his presence, allowing him to birth ministry. I think he wants to birth ministry somewhat organically to where it is. Look at where we are, folks. We are right now forced into a place that we can't really rely upon our organized structures in our previous ways of doing things. Ministry is becoming a lot more organic. What I mean by that is a lot more relational, a lot more spontaneous. It's one member of the body of Christ reaching out to another member of the body of Christ. It's us letting the Spirit of God lead us in what we do. If there's anything I can encourage you in today, it is to spend added time in God's presence. Listen for his voice. We have a hard time not being busy. We are doers. But he doesn't want us to do, but the doing has got to flow out of this place of intimacy with him. This is why Jesus said, when asked what the greatest commandment was, he said the greatest commandment is loving God and then loving others. But it begins with this love relationship with God. Go deep with that, because out of that is going to come a well, an overflow that can't help but spill over. It is not our responsibility to increase and broaden our ministry. Our responsibility is to deepen our walk with God. And as we deepen our walk with God, he will see to it that our ministry expands. Because here's what's going to happen. We go deeper with God, we're going to become like an artesian well of the life of God that's just going to gush forth with the great awakening and revival that we've been praying for so long.